I just watched the Rangers lose 5-1 to the worst team in the NHL. A game after losing to the second worst team in the NHL. Last game, they lost 6-5 in overtime against the San Jose Sharks. Their first win since March 2025. Reminder that the season ends in mid-April. And Calgary, which has had 16 goals in 9 games this season. And they scored 5 today. I don't know if I've ever been this hopeless about this franchise. And that's saying a lot, considering the absolute depressing, frustrating, demoralizing disaster that was last year. My naive, stupid self was just like, last season, Sam Rosen's leaving. The Rangers go from literally the best regular season team to missing the playoffs. Only 4 teams have ever won the President's Trophy and missed the playoffs the next year. Rangers having 2 of those 4 because this franchise is an absolute abomination. I didn't script any of this. I can't write. I'm just literally the game ended 10 minutes ago. I'm just so upset. And I think the real thing is hopeless. Like, I remember, I would say I was a fair weather fan when I was a kid. Like 2012 and onwards, I really got into them more and more. In 2014, after watching them lose in the finals, I would say the year after is when I became a diehard fan. I watched 79 or 82 games. Watched them win the President's Trophy, lose to Tampa in 7. And I remember I think it was 2017, 2018, I think it was the year that core was done. Yeah, it was 2017, 2018, because I went to the Winter Classic where JT Miller, who's now on this team again, scored. Now, this is a tangent, but that team, they wrote a letter saying that this team is rebuilding, and it sucked. It sucked. And it sucked because they traded McDonough and Miller for paper clips and nail trimmings. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But then when they were rebuilding, it's like, well, they're deciding to go that way, and there were some young guys down the pipeline. I mean, that was exciting when we got Panarin, and oh my God, we got the second overall pick. Oh my God, we got the first overall pick. I just watched this team basically hold a mutiny. I don't know what you want to call it. Just demoralized from Chris Drury being very cutthroat. I'm not here to judge whether it's right that they did that. It happened. I am not interested in giving my thoughts on whether that was a good thing or not. I just don't care. Sorry if you hear the movie that my sister's watching in the background. I'm willing to sacrifice the sound a little bit for that. But man, I feel so naive. I mean, look, it's still 11 games in the season. Who knows? But I mean, you just look at this roster. I mean, I'll put the roster on the screen right now. I'm looking at it. I have Daily Faceoff and I have Puckpedia. I mean, you got Taylor Radish on the first line, which he looked fine tonight. He's not a top 6 player, but some teams you got one position where you really, you don't kind of have it fulfilled. You got a stopgap there, especially with Trocheck out. It's kind of losing a right winger because Mika would be there. Then you got Connor Sheary on the left wing. And the first overall pick, Lafreniere, on the right wing. A reminder that the Rangers have never, ever, 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 they are celebrating their 100th year. They are unable to develop forwards. They're decent with defensemen. They are amazing at taking a goalie and beating him down and giving him nothing, and the team just having unsustainable wins off of them, and then doing good enough to do all right, and never really addressing the fact that this team has never been good 5-on-5 ever. This team is never good on even strength. I cannot recall a time in my life where they were elite or very good. The most recent was when they won the President's Trophy 2 years ago. They were 15th. They were dead even in the league. Could you imagine if this team was like 8th? That team 2 years ago. With Igor and that power play and that penalty kill. It's like, I'm getting off track, but the best forward the Rangers have ever brought up is Chris Kreider. And I don't mean that as a knock to Chris Kreider. He's a very good player. He should not be the best player that a team has developed for a century franchise, celebrating its centennial. And then they traded him. And it hurt. It still hurts. I still miss him. I understood why they did it. I thought it was an appropriate move. They got a decent return for him. I think, of course, he's going to do better. And from what I've seen, he has so far. But there were two reasons to do that. It was to make room, salary cap wise, and make room on the actual team. Let's go over the team one first. Showing the roster. Why did we need room? I mean, you look at this left wing, you got Panarin, you got Cooley, who's playing like a third liner. But, I mean, I expect him to be a second liner, so I'll give him that. Then you got Connor Sheary on the second line. I mean, this dude was on a PTO. He was fighting to just stay in the league. And he has been a consistent force in the top six, and he has not stepped off of it. Why did we need to make room? Well, we need to make room because we have Brett Berard, who I personally love and think he's going to be a great player and think he could kind of do what Kreider does a bit. Or did. Hasn't touched the league yet. Or hasn't touched his team yet this year. Brendan Othman's on the third line. I'm not really a big fan, but you know, he's playing because someone's hurt, but whatever. And then Gabe Perreault, which I can excuse because like he's 19 years old. But you got to call up. You got to get one of them in the top six. I mean, this is ridiculous. Connor Sheary, really? This is the best we can do? Connor Sheary and Taylor Radish. This team has no cap space. Literally none. They have nothing. And you have Connor Sheary and Taylor Radish on your top six. If you want to assume Trocheck's back, you have Connor Sheary on your top six still, even when you account for that. This team is so hopeless. And this is why Chris Drury is such a terrible GM. He never, ever, ever committed to anything. He acts in fear. The only time he ever committed was when we lost to the Devils in 7 games and we were the worst team. And we traded for Vladimir Tarasenko, Nico Mikkola, and Patrick Kane. Probably someone else. I don't know. And Nico Mikkola was Nico? I think Nico Mikkola was a year before, actually. I don't remember. I'll correct that. We should have re-signed him, by the way, and weren't even interested in him, and he was on the Panthers and won, I think, 2 cups with them. So, anyways, that one year we went all in. Tarasenko was good. Patrick Kane was not because he was playing hurt. I think a big problem with that was that the coach felt forced to put Patrick Kane on the power play with a power play that was already great. I still remember seeing Mika on the bumper, and I've never seen a player look so lost on NHL ice before. But, sorry, getting off topic. He has always gone halfway. This team was putting up the best record in history, breaking records day after day after day after day 2 years ago. A day did not go by without a record being broken. They won the goddamn President's Trophy. And we had Blake Wheeler, who was like 38, 39 on the first line, and he wasn't getting it done. And we needed the trade. And we also needed a third line center. And we barely gave up anything for Alex Wenberg and Jack Roslovic. Now, I've talked to other Ranger fans who disagree with me. I would have given up the house for Gensel. People are like, oh, you had to give up Othman, which, I mean, retrospect seems good. I still would have done it then, even with all the potential that he had. I said that back then. Or Gabe Perreault. Gabe Perreault would be hard to give up. He's the Rangers' best prospect. He looks good. I still would have done it. He would have been the best player on that first line. I truly do think we would have won a Stanley Cup if we traded for Jake Gensel. I really do. This team was 2 games away from going to the Stanley Cup Finals, and they had Jack Roslovic on their first line. And just imagine if you had like a Kreider, Gensel, Mika. I mean, the line doesn't make sense because it's all scorers, but sure as hell would have been better than what they had. I really do think they would have won the cup. And Drury decided to rebuild on the fly. I think, and I made a video of this, I forget if I deleted it or not, that's still on my channel, that the Rangers doomed themselves by trading for JT Miller. Is JT Miller's contract that bad for what he is? No. Even when he ages, the cap going up, it's not going to be that bad. But what it did is not, because also like Hedl, I don't know, his career might be over. I think he should end it. So did we really give up much for that? No, we gave up a first round pick last year. That would have been a bust anyways and in a weak draft. But it's not the trade. It's more so what position it put the team in. I wanted the team to just, I mean, this was kind of what, I wish I could find it. There was a quote from Jacob Trouba before the season started saying like, yeah, this is the last ride. If we don't get it, we're done. To me, I read that as, and this was not like he was the first one to say it, like, team doesn't get it done this year. Time to pack it up and start over. Core can't win. And what is Drury's response to that? To blow up everything, but not the core, and yet still keep most of the core. I mean, we traded Kakko, who's on the third line or second line. He's doing all right in Seattle. Keandre Miller, I mean, that's kind of different. God. Kreider, obviously. Lindgren. I mean, we traded the guys that were in our bottom 6 or guys who were on our way out. Like, we didn't change the core. We changed like the parts around it. And we replaced like a Hedl, Kakko, Lafreniere line with a like Juuso Parssinen, Taylor Radish, Noah Laba line. Like these guys that like one of them has potential in Laba, who knows, but guys that are just like whatever. You know, you get one of them on you. That's like a guy like on a good team. Like you see 2 of the guys on the third line, you're like, wow, that's a good third line. Then you see like a Taylor Radish. You're like, oh, well, you know what? The rest of it's good. That's still really good depth. You know, he's fine. But when your third line is composed solely of Taylor Radishes, it's not good. What I'm trying to say through this rambly just rage is that this team is Drury has refused to commit, and I feel like this team still wants to be in the playoffs, and yet we refuse to ever trade any draft capital or prospects. We so hung it to our held it to our chest, and now this team is objectively worse. Like, the team looked good at the beginning of the year, and they were just getting shut out. They were getting unlucky. They lost to the Oilers. They deserve to win that game. They lost to the Capitals. They deserve to win that game. And I had hope like an idiot. And now this team's lost to the two worst teams in the league 2 times in a row. And now they're still not scoring. Well, they scored against San Jose, but they didn't score today. And now their defense is showing up. I didn't even mention the defense. Let's mention it now. Get rid of Miller, which, I thought Miller was good. Better than people said. I think he's very flawed. And I would not have paid him what Carolina paid him. So I'm fine with what they got for him. But you took Kreider's money. You put in like Will Borgen. Put it in Earl Vakanainen. You put it in Carson Soucy. Like Radish, Parsonen. Like, what is it with Drury and his obsession with these bottom 6 bumps? Like, it's just like we were signing Radish and Parsonen and Sheary. Like, we have prospects that played last year that showed signs of good. And defense is just like, there's no puck movers here. There's Adam Fox. Gavrikov has been good. He played great today from what I saw. We lost 5-1. There's probably something I missed, but the plays where I noticed him, he looked amazing. But Will Borgen, we signed this guy for what? Let me check the thing. 1, 2, 3. We signed him for 5 years, $4.1 million. This guy was on his way out of the NHL. He was literally grasping at straws to just stay in. We signed him for 5 years at 4.1 because he had like a good 15 games. Like, Drury signs players like he has no leverage at all. I kind of came to this conclusion by talking over and listening to myself. Is he's scared. Everything he does is scared. He doesn't trade for Gensel because he's scared. He got spooked from trading for Tarasenko and for Patrick Kane and not being good enough. That team just wasn't good enough. You trade a first round pick and you lose. The old Ranger team did that all the freaking time. And they still did it again, and it helped. They got Marty St. Louis, helped take him to the Stanley Cup Finals. He got so scared from that one thing. Jack Roslovic and Alex Wenberg, that's your moves. Oh, we don't want to disrupt the team chemistry. It's like, dude, you have no right winger. What chemistry are we giving up here? There's no puck movers here. There's none. There's literally Adam Fox and Scott Morrill's not playing. He's young, whatever. It's like, this team is so doomed. We have all of these long contracts. How do you rebuild with this money? This was going to be like a challenge before we traded for Miller or signed Borgen or Vakanainen or Parsonen or Parsonen. What the hell was that? This guy was not good, and you signed him to $1.25 million, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's literally just enough to where you can't bury him in the AHL. What leverage does he have, dude? He's an RFA. He is not good. Like, he doesn't understand leverage. Like, this team has so much bad money locked up. Zibanejad looked like the best player of this team. He's my favorite player. I'm biased. He's looked good. Didn't look great today. JT Miller, Zibanejad, locked till 2030. Trocheck till 2029. Lafreniere till 2032, and he can't do anything on the power play. He can't do anything. He's useless on that power play. I just think Rangers can't develop a prospect, and I don't expect much from him. And it's like, yeah, if we didn't sign Miller, you still get the problem of Mika money and Lafreniere and Trocheck. I liked the Lafreniere signing at the time, and yeah, it was wrong. The one time we overextend on a young guy is the one time we're wrong. But every other time we do bridge deals and then owe someone $10 million more. I'm being hyperbolic, but you know what I mean. But it's like this team is in such a weird position. Is where I'm trying. I accidentally stopped recording. I kind of rambled for a bit, so I'll just end it and say I don't know how much I went into, but this team's in limbo. They have so much money in these like aging players, and they've committed themselves. That JT Miller trade locked us into that we're going to try and compete again with this same core or similar core, even though we traded a lot of guys, but they were all the young guys. I did what I said. If I could have it the way I wanted it, I would say you rebuild for like 3 or 4 years, and then you go in and you still got Fox in his lower 30s, Gavrikov in his 30s. So like on the better side of 30, got Igor at 32. I mean, goalies often have their peak seasons at like 34, 35. They age differently than players. And you could do that because that's the core. The core's Igor and it's Shesterkin. Those are players that you know are going to be here. That you know that those are players that can be the best at their position and win you a cup. Forward, there's no one. Panarin, maybe, but he's not coming back. He's getting traded. So, yeah, we're in limbo. Drury always acts scared. And I have no hope for this team whatsoever. And I'm sick. I'm a sick person. I watched last season's disaster, and I feel like so much more diehard of a Rangers fan than I did the year before. Maybe it's just that longing for 2 years ago and it feeling further and further away. But I'm sick in the head for liking this team more. It's sadistic of me. Well, that's going to be it. If you want more videos like this, let me know. I want to make hockey videos. I feel like there's a very big lack of it on YouTube, especially for the Rangers. So if you watched this far, thanks for watching. Have a good one.